The news is on in the background. Your face is on the screen. Not a sketch, not a blurry photo, a clear, sharp image. And below it, in bold red letters, 2 words, most wanted. You don't panic. You turn off the TV. You've been expecting this, because this didn't happen overnight. This started small. This started with a choice you made years ago. And today, you're going to relive every level of that journey, every decision, every dollar, every mistake. So sit down, because this is your story, and it's already too late to change it. Level 1. The envelope. You're 19 years old. You live in a 2-bedroom apartment with 4 people. The rent is late. Again. Your phone has 3% battery and no charger. A guy from your neighborhood, everyone calls him Marco, he slides up next to you outside the corner store. He doesn't shake your hand. He doesn't explain anything. He just says, "You want to make $200? You say yes before he finishes the sentence. He hands you a manila envelope, sealed, taped, heavy. He gives you an address 4 blocks away. He says, drop it off, don't open it, don't ask questions, come back. That's it. You walk those 4 blocks. You knock on a door. A man opens it. Older, calm, eyes like he's already seen everything. He takes the envelope without a word, closes the door. You walk back. Marco counts out $200 in cash, hands it to you, says, same time next week? And the worst part, you feel nothing, no fear, no guilt, just the weight of that cash in your pocket. And for the first time in a long time, you feel like you have options. Level 2. The second job. 3 months pass. You've done the envelope run 11 times, never asked what's inside. Marco starts trusting you. He gives you a phone, prepaid, basic, and says, you're going to get calls now. Answer them. The calls come at weird hours. Someone needs a package picked up from a storage unit in the warehouse district. Someone needs you to drive a car from one parking lot to another. Leave the keys under the mat. Simple tasks, different faces, different locations, but the money doubles. $400 a run, sometimes sex. You buy a real phone, you pay your part of the rent on time. You start eating better. Your roommates stop asking where the money comes from. You stop offering to explain. One night, Marco introduces you to a man named Raymond. Raymond doesn't look dangerous. He looks like someone's accountant. He hands you a card with a number on it. No name, just a number. He says, you ever need anything, you call that number. And he walks away. You don't know it yet, but that card just changed your life. Level 3. You start to see the system. A year in, you understand things now that you didn't before. The envelopes weren't random. The cars weren't random. Everything was connected. A network of people, products, and money moving like blood through veins. And you were a single cell in that bloodstream. Now, Marco pulls you aside and tells you the truth. He says the organization moves product through 4 cities. He says there are people at every level. Carriers, distributors, collectors, cleaners. He says you've been a carrier. He says, you want to move up? You ask what that means. He says more responsibility, more risk. But the number, the money, goes from hundreds to thousands per week. You say yes. Of course you say yes. Your first real job is managing 3 other carriers. Kids really, younger than you were when you started. You hand them envelopes. You give them addresses. You collect and report back to Marco. And for the first time, you feel something new. Not fear, not excitement. Control. Level 4. The first close call. 8 months later, you're in a parking garage on the east side of the city. You're waiting for a handoff. The other guy's 12 minutes late, then 20. Then you hear tires. Not 1 car, 3. Unmarked, but you know. You've seen enough TV to know. You walk, don't run, toward the stairwell. Your heart is slamming against your ribs. You make it down 2 floors, exit through a side door, blend into the street. Don't look back. You call Marco from a payphone 2 blocks away. He answers in 1 ring. You say, blue lights. He says, go to the second address. That's it. No panic in his voice. You spend that night in a motel off the highway, alone. Bad TV, stale food from a vending machine. And for the first time, the real weight of this hits you. You could have been sitting in a holding cell right now. You could have been charged. But you weren't. And when Markle calls the next morning, he says, "You did good. Raymond noticed." And just like that, the fear turns into pride. That's the trap. That's how they keep you. Level 5. Real money. You're 23 now. You have your own place, a real one. Third floor of a clean building. Corner unit. City view. Your name isn't on the lease. Someone else's is. Someone who owes Raymond the favor. But it's yours. You have a car. A reliable one. Nothing flashy. That's the rule. Never draw attention. Never show money. Stay invisible. But in a drawer in your kitchen, there's $60,000 in rubber banded stacks. $60,000 that doesn't exist on paper. Raymond has moved you up again. You're not managing carriers anymore. You're managing a territory. A small one, just 5 square blocks on the south side, but it generates $40,000 a month for the organization. Raymond takes 30, you keep 10. $10,000 a month. Clean, invisible, untraceable. You start to believe you're smart enough to survive this. That's when the real danger begins. Because Raymond calls you one night. He says there's a problem in your territory. One of your guys has been skimming. Raymond says, "Handle it." He doesn't explain what that means. He doesn't have to. You sit in your car for a long time after that call. Because you know what handle it means. And you know that how you respond to this moment changes everything about what kind of person you are. Level 6. The line you cross. You find the guy. His name is Dion. 21 years old, nervous hands. You don't hurt him, but you make it clear, in a way that doesn't need explaining, that he's done. Out of the territory, out of the organization. You give him $300 and tell him to disappear. You report back to Raymond. He listens, pauses, says, "Next time, note $300. You understand. You don't sleep well that night, but you do sleep. And that ability to sleep, is the line. Some people cross it and fall apart. Some people cross it and move forward. You move forward. 3 weeks later, Raymond gives you a second territory. And now you're making $20,000 a month. Now you have 2 phones. Now you have a storage unit with $140,000 inside a duffel bag, inside a locked box. Now you start thinking about the future. But the future is thinking about you too. Level 7. You are not invisible anymore. It's a Tuesday. You're getting coffee at a diner you've been going to for 2 years. Same booth, same order. A man sits across from you. You didn't invite him. He sets a folder on the table. Inside, photographs of you, getting into your car, walking into your building, meeting with one of your guys. He says he's federal. He says your name, your real name. And then he says something that makes the room go cold. He says, "We've been watching you for 14 months. He slides a card across the table, says you have 72 hours to decide if you want to be a witness or a defendant. He gets up, pays for your coffee, and leaves. You sit there. The coffee goes cold. You don't move for 20 minutes. Then you walk to a payphone and call Raymond. He answers. You say, "We have a problem." He says, "I know. I've known for a week." And the silence that follows tells you everything. Raymond knew, and he said nothing, because in this world, everyone is expendable, even you. Level 8. Paranoia. You disappear. Not dramatically, not like the movies. You just stop being where you normally are. Different routes, different times. You stop using both your phones. You buy a third one, cash, different city. You trust no one. Not Marco, not your guys, not the people in your building. You stop going to the diner. You stop going to the gym. You cook at home. You keep the blinds down. At night, you lie awake and replay every conversation, every handoff, every face. Who talked? Who was turned? You run the math obsessively. 14 months of surveillance means they have everything. Every call, every location, every face. Except they haven't arrested you yet, which means they want someone bigger,
They're using you to get to Raymond, and now you're trapped between two forces that will both destroy you. The organization, if they think you're going to talk, the feds, if you don't. You have maybe 3 days before one side makes a move.
Level 9. The offer. You call the number on the federal agent's card. He meets you in a parking lot outside a mall in the suburbs. You sit in his car. He lays it out clean. Testify against Raymond. Provide documentation, recordings, everything you know. In exchange, immunity, new identity, relocation. Start over. You ask what happens to Marco. He says, he goes down too. That's not negotiable. Marco, who handed you that first envelope. Marco, who paid you $200 when you had nothing. You stare out the windshield. A kid is walking with his mom through the parking lot. He's eating ice cream. He looks happy. You can't remember the last time you felt like that kid. You tell the agent you need more time. He says, you don't have more time. You get out of the car anyway, because there's something you have to do first. Level 10. The warning. You go to Marco, not to warn him exactly, to look at him, to remind yourself why you started, what it was all for. Marco is at a barber shop he goes to every Thursday. You walk in. He sees you. His face doesn't change. You sit in the chair next to him. You say quietly, "They've been watching." He nods. One single nod, like he already knew, like this was always coming. He says, "What are you going to do?" You don't answer. You stand up. You walk out. That's the last time you see Marco, because that night, you make your decision. Final level. The cost. You take the deal. You hand over everything. Recordings you made without anyone knowing, financial records you photographed over 3 years, names, addresses, routes, schedules, everything. Raymond is arrested 6 weeks later, at his front door, in a white rab boat, coffee in hand. They get 14 people in total. Marco is one of them. His sentence, 12 years. You watch it from a different city, different name, different face almost. You've lost weight, grown a beard, cut your hair different. You have a new apartment, a job at a logistics company that the feds arranged, a social security number that belongs to someone who never existed before you. And every day, you go to work. You eat lunch alone. You don't make friends because friends ask questions. You don't call home because home doesn't exist anymore. You made $250,000 over 4 years. It's gone, seized, spent, or left behind. You have $1,100 in a bank account under your new name. At night, you check your deadbolt twice. You keep your blinds closed. You never sit with your back to the door. Because the feds can change your name. They can change your city. But they can't change the fact that somewhere out there are people who know what you did. And in this world, debts don't disappear with a new identity. They just take longer to collect. You turn off the light. You lie in the dark. And you wait. That's what your life is now. Waiting. This is not a story about winning. This is not a story about losing. This is a story about the cost. The cost of every level, every choice, every yes. You wanted out of poverty. You found a way out. But the door didn't lead where you thought it would. It never does.